and welcome back to DCM, Doritos, Connections, and Mountain Dew, your favorite local video game talk show. I am your host, Howard Miller.
And I'm your co-host, David Scrivani.
And today we'll start off with the news.
All right, so the year's biggest news in gaming, my opinion. You can disagree, but you'd be wrong. Move over PlayStation, get the heck out of my face, Xbox Series X. We got a new contender in the console wars from the least likely candidate, KFC. I'm not entirely sure how to say the name of this. It's either KFC Onsole or KF Console. Neither sounds correct. So essentially, KFC is going to be releasing what's essentially a pre-built high-end gaming PC that they say will be able to compete with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The one difference, however, which is going to make all the difference that'll win KFC the console wars, is their key feature, the chicken chamber, which is basically just a chamber in the console to keep your delicious KFC chicken nice and toasty.
This is a meme, right?
I think it's real.
Like, are they selling this? Do they have a date?
There's no date right now, but apparently they teased a release date for next year.
But why, though?
Why did they make a KFC dating sim? Why do they have KFC fire logs at Walmart?
Wait, what? In other news, the publishing company EA, famous for their Madden titles, their Mass Effect series, and a bunch of other franchises like Need for Speed, has acquired for $1.2 billion the game developer Codemasters. Codemasters is a British company established in 1986. They didn't make anything good until the 2000s. Let's be totally honest, because you probably wouldn't know anything if I brought it up.
Honestly, I don't even know Codemasters as a company.
Listen,
what have they made?
Codemasters is known for such games such as the Overlord series, the Operation Flashpoint series, and multiple racing franchises such as F1, Grid, and Dirt.
Okay, those I do know.
Yeah, there we go. EA has done this thing before, as they're the second largest video game company in the world. So these business deals are, they're not unusual, because the most recent thing they did was get the rights for all AAA Star Wars games. They have exclusive rights to that. That's why they're the only ones who make those games. And but here's the issue: if this is anything like Visceral Games or Pandemic Studios, it's probably going to get shut down in about a couple years after they don't give them anything and just steal their IPs and leave.
Pour one out for Visceral Studios.
If you're a fan of the classic Halo games, here's some sad news, and I recommend you stop listening now if that's the case. Almost every Halo game that was on the Xbox 360 are getting their servers sunsetted. Now, what does this mean? It means they're getting shut down. They just put a big old nice little bow on it. So, all these games that are include Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 4, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo Reach, Halo Wars, and Halo Spartan Assault are all getting their multiplayer shut down on December 31st, 2021. This is most likely due to the fact that these games are either are already ported to next gen or are included in the Halo Master Chief Collection. This comes as a shock to fans, as Microsoft's main appeal of the Xbox Series X is backwards compatibility, as far back as 4 console generations now, and they're shutting down the service to the best-selling franchises on a classic console.
I mean, I guess, with most Xbox players likely having the Master Chief Collection, it kind of makes sense, because they can just have the servers up there for all time, basically, and don't have to worry about any other servers. So I can see why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But if people want that more classic experience, I can see why people would be upset.
Yeah, and the thing is, apparently, Microsoft has said this out loud, millions of people still play on the Xbox 360, even while the Series X launched. And but hey, at least they're giving us a warning. Unlike the times when they randomly take Forza games off all digital storefronts without telling anyone because they're not profitable anymore. I'm not kidding. or how they shut down Sunset Overdrive servers like a couple months ago and they didn't tell anyone.
Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so at least we're getting told. So to reiterate,
And it's still a year out, correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
still a year out. Halo servers are being shut down on December 31st, 2021. So there's time, and they even have a cute little guide that I'll put up that tells you what things they're getting rid of. So like ahead of time, like things like, I think Halo Combat Evolved is basically just not going to be affected at all when it comes to this,
all right.
but something like Reach will be. And now for our segment, hey guys, what you been playing?
With my brand spanking new shiny PlayStation 5, I've been playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. A follow-up to Insomniac's hit 2018 game Spider-Man, Miles Morales offers players a brand new story that follows the titular character on his journey to set himself apart from Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Arguably better than the original, I feel like Miles Morales smooths out a lot of the problems the first game had. No extended sections of playing as someone who's not Spider-Man. The most important thing for me, side missions and activities that don't feel overwhelmingly repetitive. You don't get 10 of the same crime in the span of 10 minutes. And I think it crafts like a more heartfelt narrative that feels more in touch with the setting, New York, than the previous game did. And I think it tugs on the heartstrings, especially near the end, just as much as the first one did too. Spider-Man Miles Morales is now available on the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4.
So what have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of this game called Soma. Soma is a game made and published by Frictional Games in 2015. We mentioned them on our Halloween episode. They made Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Basically, you play as a person who wakes up after a brain scan to find himself in a mechanical body underwater hundreds of years into the future. And the future is full of this weird, like cybernetic humanoid monsters roaming this base that used to be inhabited by thousands of people, and now all the people are gone. It's a really good story. It asks a lot of questions. It's very dark at some points with how depressing the story can be. And honestly, that alone is worth it, especially when I got it on sale for $3.
Ooh.
But be warned, because I am kind of lukewarm on this game, because it has a fantastic story. And the monsters are kind of cool, like the first initial ones. And because you're a robot, the monsters are also robots. So when you get near them, your screen starts flickering. There's actual screen tearing the closer the monster gets to you, and graphical glitches done on purpose for a visual flair. But for a horror game, it's really not that scary, and there's not much to do when you see a monster. Because the game's all a hallway. And they put the monster in front of you. Now in Amnesia, you could go and hide in a room, but you can't hide in a room, so you just have to walk back down the hallway into another hallway, and hope the monster can't find you. And then go back down the hallway and hope he's not there anymore.
Oh, well.
It's kind of infuriating, and it gets to the point where it's easier just to let the monster kill you, because then the monster will spawn behind you in the hallway, and you'll spawn in the same place, so you can just keep going forward.
Speedrun tactics.
Literally. And the whole game's a straight line, so it's, I'd basically say it's a walking simulator kind of to a degree.
So it's kind of like PT in a way?
It's like PT, but none of the puzzles of PT. So if you want a really, really good story in 6 hours with a kind of okay game, I recommend Soma. Because the ending made me rethink my life just a little tiny bit.
Ooh, that's always good.
It's always good. Soma is now available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and is also playable on the next-gen consoles PS5 and Xbox Series X.
As a bonus game that I started playing literally an hour before I got here, I've been playing the first-person shooter Dusk. Have you heard of this game?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
so Dusk is essentially, it's a first-person shooter, a boomer shooter, as the term has been coined recently. Essentially just a retro 90s-esque first-person shooter. It's very much a spiritual successor to something like Blood. First-person shooter, I've literally only played one level of this game. But I'm in a farm, creepy-looking farm. There's cultists and demonic goats and stuff. It's kind of rad. It starts you off with these three, leather-faced-looking guys with chainsaws. All you got is two scythes. They don't do a lot of damage, so you kind of got to figure out how to kill them, and you pick up a rock and you just kind of chuck it at them, and they explode into guts. And then you get to dual-wield shotguns, and that's pretty cool. Dusk features music by Andrew Hulshult, who has recently done the music for Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 1, and I think Quake Champions he did the music for as well. Very good music. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the developer David Szymanski, who, after I beat that first level, I tweeted out, "Dude, this game rocks," and he liked my tweet.
Hey!
So thanks, David Szymanski. But yeah, that's Dusk. Dusk is currently available on PC and hopefully be coming to Switch soon, apparently. It says to be determined 2020, and we got 2 days left of 2020 as of the recording. So I don't think it'll be out this year, but coming to Switch probably next year.
It'll be a New Year's miracle.
Hey!
So we're talking about Cyberpunk 2077, and it is a game developed by CD Projekt Red and published by Warner Brothers?
I think.
Pretty sure, right?
I think so.
Right, so it was just released last month.
Now, before we get in, I would like to say, I think it's safe to say this was probably, not for me personally, or probably even you personally, I think this was a lot of people's most anticipated game of the year.
Yeah, because this game was announced in 2012 or 2013. Mm-hmm. This game has been in development for almost a decade, and people have been wanting this forever.
Yeah, because it looked cool. It looked really, really cool, and I don't blame people for being that excited for it.
And we also we're taking into account that the fact that this is the most, everyone got excited for this game ever. We're gonna take some, I guess, mental handicaps when people are not gonna be happy when the game comes out. Regardless, it's not gonna reach that perfect stride.
That just happens no matter what.
However, there's a lot of problems.
Ooh, yeah.
So this is the Cyberpunk recap of the train recap of how horrible things went. So, issue 1, they hid all game footage. Why did they hide all the game footage? Well, because it doesn't work on certain consoles.
It works on next-gen consoles. So on the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, it appears to work fine.
Yeah.
But on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, not so much.
Yeah, aside from the fact that the game is already super buggy no matter what's the best preference you have, and sometimes quests just don't activate or certain things, it just doesn't work if you have an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4. Sometimes the game will take 10 minutes to load, and then for graphics to pop in, it takes 2 minutes. And this is bad.
I saw a video of someone, they drove into a ditch where there should have been water, and then they got stuck in it on their little motorcycle, and then a full 2 minutes later the water was "Oh, I'm here now," and then they died because they drowned.
And the thing that makes this worse is because they hid all the game footage, well, what did they give to the reviewers that gave the game such good scores? They gave them the PC version, which runs the best. And they actively refuse to give anyone console copies, which is kind of, scummy. Mm-hmm. It's kind of not good. Which now, because of that, once the people who reviewed it on PC figured it out, a lot of them lowered their scores retroactively.
That I didn't hear about.
Yeah, I think, I forget who, but one basically turned their 8 to a 4.
Goodness.
He's like, no. If you play this to anything on other than PC, this is a 4 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10. It's bad. the stock of the company plummeted like
Oh,
day
yeah.
one.
Yep.
Bad journalism all across. Third best-selling game of the month. I'm not kidding.
And that is still accounting for all the refunds that have happened as well, because of how broken the game is, people have been refunding en masse, and it's still one of the best-selling games this year.
And as a point, when you buy a game digitally, you oftentimes can't refund it. Now, I don't know about the PlayStation Store,
I think the PlayStation Store is doing refunds.
but I don't know about refunds in general for digitally bought. I know Xboxes, if you bought it and used it in less than if you bought it and then you used it for less than 10 minutes, you can get a 100% refund. I know that. But both companies both extended okay, yeah, if you bought this and want a refund, we'll just give it to you. This is unprecedented. The last time this happened that I can remember was Afro Samurai 2, because that game was a hunk of garbage and the developer said, we'll give you refunds. That was in 2014.
Oh, have times have changed. Not.
It's been 6 years since a refund of this large scale of people forgiving any criteria. Just you bought the game, you get the money back, has been lifted, right? This is happening.
And unfortunately, I feel like this is, not to call out gamers, but with all the delays this game has had, people they've been rabid. They've been sending death threats to the company. It's we want this game, we want this game. And they said, okay, here's the game. It's not finished, but here's the game.
Yeah,
And now because the game wasn't finished upon launch, people are getting even more mad. And they don't understand that patience can be a virtue, especially when it comes to game development.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
They really needed to delay it one more year, and I'm pretty sure if they explained it, instead of just, presenting this really early release date, everyone would be fine. But, people are going to be whiny and want their thing now. And
I will say,
they get it now.
a lot of the messages they posted about the delays, they were a little vague in the reasons for it being delayed. I feel like had they been a little more open about the problems that the game still had, people wouldn't have been as, furious with it being delayed.
Yeah, if they said, hey, we cannot get this to work on this generation of console, we're going to delay it for a couple months, I'm pretty sure people would be understandable of what happened.
Especially considering the controversy surrounding all the newer console pre-orders. Not everyone gets, people still can't get them. And so I think if people had understood that the game doesn't yet work on the consoles most people have, and they finally delayed it, I think they would have been more accepting of the delays.
Not everyone owns a console, right? Statistically proven. Not everyone has a high-end PC. So why you wouldn't tell your major market hey, we have this issue, is far beyond me. Although it is nice that they did say that they're going to have a mega patch every single month for the next couple months to attempt to alleviate these bugs issues. But damage has still been done.
It has, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to the game much. I'm oh, that's kind of neat. I'll give it at some point. But it is disappointing for something like this to happen, because it is very unprecedented.
Yeah, and also note, I guess we should mention this. The game isn't bad. If you look at it, it's fun, and apparently it's really good. It just so happens.
Yeah, I've heard the story's really, really good.
Yeah, the story's really, really good. The issue is it just doesn't.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's kind of top priority when you're releasing a video game. It's gotta work for people to play it.
Imagine you're watching Citizen Kane and it just stops every 3 seconds, then skips ahead 5 minutes, right? And you go, I mean, it's a good movie, but I can't actually watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you have anything about the lawsuit?
Oh, there's a lawsuit?
Oh, okay.
What?
All right, I got to bring this up. Yeah, there's a lawsuit ongoing. So, back on the topic of CD Projekt Red not informing anyone that it's basically unplayable on earlier consoles. When we say no one knew about this, we mean no one. not even CD Projekt Red's investors. They were not told that it was unplayable. And now, they're trying to take CD Projekt Red to court, alleging that CD Projekt Red made false/misleading statements about the quality of the game on earlier consoles. This is insane. This whole Cyberpunk thing is insane. You have investors suing the developer. You have people sending death threats to the developer.
Mass
What?
refunds, and still somehow one of the most profitable games. And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It's insane. You said the last on the side was Afro Samurai 2. Was that game that even broken to the amount to the what's the one I'm looking for?
Broken to like the equal amount.
Yeah, there's a word for it, but I can't remember it.
It was worse.
Okay.
Like literally sometimes, because I guess for context I should have added this, but Afro Samurai 2 is a sequel to the hack and slash game Afro Samurai, based on the great anime that stars Samuel L. Jackson. They made a sequel to it, but it was so buggy because it's a hack and slash. So you're like fixed camera, see a dude with a sword running around. Sometimes he'll just fall through the ground, and you instantly die, and you have to restart the level. Sometimes hits won't register. Like the game was it was somehow more unplayable than Cyberpunk, but like it didn't have the graphical issues of Cyberpunk.
But so question, who is the developer of those games?
Some no-name studio.
Okay, but the thing with Cyberpunk is, this is a AAA studio. These are the guys behind The Witcher games. The Witcher 3, I haven't played it, but The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is like regarded as one of the best games of this generation.
Yeah.
So how do you go from that to something as ridiculously broken as Cyberpunk? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like it's a huge studio. They've made great games before, and I think they just had way too much. On their hands
I think so. They took too big a bite. They bit off more than they can chew. That's the actual phrase I was looking for.
There we go.
They took too big a bite.
Now for our next topic, 2020 saw the video game industry basically be the highest grossing media source for people in America. So of course, music has the Grammys, film has Oscars. There's the Game Awards for video games. Now they've been around for, I'd say, around ever since 2013. Don't quote me. But this is the perfect time to show all the people around the world all the video games they could buy this year. What's the best of the best? But not, fandom-wise, but like what is a perfect ad to show you what video games came out in 2020? Now, I think as an award show it worked because it doubled its viewership. It had over 30 million people. But me and Dave found some problems. And when I mean some, I mean, oh good Lord, a lot of issues. So
Yes, indeed.
So first issue is critically acclaimed, totally not an indie game, The Last of Us 2, released over the summer. Everyone loved it. It sold a lot of money.
I'm sorry. Go on.
It was nominated, of course, for a lot of things. But however, a lot of games were nominated, including indie game Hades, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghosts of Tsushima, Among Us. A bunch of games were nominated. But the thing is, the game that won the most awards was The Last of Us 2. Now, this is fine, but the difference is Last of Us 2 won 7 awards. The second highest was Final Fantasy VII. It won 2. 2! Doom Eternal was nominated 5 times and won nothing. I don't...
So, I don't even remember what Doom Eternal was nominated for. Obviously, I love the game to death.
Audio design, music.
I didn't know it was nominated for That's cool, though.
I know, right? Yeah, guess who won Best Audio Design?
Last of Us?
Yep.
The audio design for that game was pretty good, actually. I'll give it that. So, I would have just liked one award for Doom Eternal. And I feel like it was definitely robbed of Best Action Game, because I believe Hades won that.
Hades won, but I'm not that mad because Hades is an indie game, and of course, always support indie games, right?
But I've seen people who have been like, yeah, Hades is like my favorite game of the year, but I don't think it should have won Best Action Game. I think that should have gone to Doom.
I think there poses a good debate there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. It's totally healthy to have a good debate when it comes to what should win. But like, when one game just comes in and
just wipes the floor,
everything,
cleans house.
And this is supposed to show everyone's like, what's the games? Like they got, what is it, Brie Larson and Tom Holland to present some awards?
Did they? I don't even remember
I think
that.
so. And like, cause they were there.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's when I went to go eat dinner. I don't know.
Yeah, these people, they got big names just for a 2-hour-long advertisement for one video game that sold really well already. I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, so I assume you didn't play The Last of Us.
I played the first one.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
I played The Last of Us 2. I thought it was okay. I thought it's at the very, very least on par with the original. I know a lot of people don't think that's the case. And that's why I thought it was actually very funny that The Last of Us cleaned house so much, because I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see everyone get their panties in a twist over this.
And the worst part is I didn't actually see anyone really get that
I know,
mad.
and then I was a little disappointed.
If anything, people got super mad who were on the other side. It's like, Last of Us 2 is the game of the 2000 millennium. They were auto-defendingly getting mad at people who didn't exist, saying that Last of Us 2 shouldn't exist, like shouldn't have won. They were getting mad, and like anyone that's like, hey, I don't think Last of Us 2 should have won Best Audio Design, Doom Eternal, they were like mad.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's nothing wrong with the game. There's nothing wrong liking the game.
No.
But to show off the Game Awards, like, hey guys, look at all these great games, and just be like,
and also The Last of Us.
and when I mean all these great games, I just mean The Last of Us 1 and 2. You can buy them on your PS4. It's like I think it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And there was a controversy that someone made an argument for of why, because this game also won Best Game of the Year. Surprise, surprise. And someone made a point of why did a game that was made during crunch, now made during crunch is basically you work more than 40 hours a day, more than 5 days a week. You work like 60 to 80 for 6 to 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And the game studio during the time of development has multiple sexual harassment cases open for investigation. Why did that win Best Game Narrative while the indie game Hades, that didn't have any of these issues, not have it?
Yeah, so the controversy is like, why should we be giving awards to studios that do? Why should we be encouraging studios to do practices like crunch? Because it wipes people both physically and mentally, and no one should have to live like that.
And a lot of times they don't get paid for the crunch time. They don't get paid overtime. And that's our show. If anything, you can always leave a comment or subscribe to the channel. And we'll just be on our way off to not play Cyberpunk 2077, even though I own it. I'm Howard.
I'm David.
And you have a good night, everyone.
Capitalism sucks.
Exactly.